Welcome back to the latest Freakin' 2 baking video. Now today's video is not a food test, but recently I did some cookies on that other channel of mine, and I wanted to do another batch of cookies, which is another family favorite around the holidays. So today I'm gonna make my beloved orange gumdrop cookies, and I'm also gonna try another cookie I've never tried before. I don't even know if it exists. I just made it up. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try and see how it goes. But let's start off with one that I have made before. It's a family favorite. It's a classic cookie recipe. This recipe is one that was passed down from my grandmother. So this is directly from her. And the secret ingredient are these jelly orange slices. I haven't made these for about 15 years, so it's been a while. Hopefully they turn out okay. I got my oven preheating. I've got some butter that is softening on the counter. The next step is to prepare the candies. We need about 1 cup, which doesn't have to be exact, but this is approximately 1 cup of candies. I am placing them into a small bowl. Now, obviously, we're not going to put this giant candy into a cookie itself. We have to prepare them. First thing I'm going to do is sprinkle some flour on these orange slices here. That will make the cutting easier. I've tried doing this without doing this step, and it can be a sticky mess. And then we're gonna flour them up afterwards too. Now you can use a knife or you can use kitchen shears. I'm using my Dream Farm scissor to cut these up because it's a nice cutting blade on these. You're gonna cut these to approximately 1/4 to 1/2 in size. I've also applied a little bit of flour onto my scissor as well. So this is approximately the size I'm going with. Opinions vary on what size this should be, but that's about right. So I'll finish the rest of these, move on to the next step. All right, I have approximately a cup of these orange slices cut up into approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch chunks, lightly floured. I'm gonna set these aside. Next up, we're gonna take 2 cups of flour, teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Just give these a little mix here. Now we'll set this aside. Next up we have 1 cup of butter, which is about 60 degrees. 2 cups of brown sugar. Now mix. Helps when I plug it in. Now mix. Now we slowly mix in 3 eggs. Get 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We'll add this slowly. Now it's time for the mix-ins. A cup of quick oats, 1 cup of bran flakes, 1 cup of shredded sweetened coconut, and a cup of nuts of your choice. I have pecans. After this is all mixed together, our final ingredient are the orange slices. We have to gently fold these in so we don't smash them. All right, now it's time to put them on my baking sheet with parchment paper. You can use a cookie scoop or a tablespoon. I'm just gonna use my hands. All right, my first batch is ready to go in. I can't remember how big to make these, so I kind of made it on the larger side. If they're too big, I'll adjust for the next batch. But here's the first batch. It's going in now. 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. All right, I've got my second batch prepared here. I made them significantly smaller, so we'll see which ones turn out better, the larger ones or the smaller ones. So I've got more batches to make, but I'll come back when everything's done and we'll see how they turned out. They are out of the oven. It's time to do a taste test, but a couple quick notes. First up, I did multiple sizes. I prefer the bigger ones. These are on the 14-minute side. The small ones more on the 12-minute side. You'll know they're done when the tops are set and the edges are a little bit brown. Another note is when you're rolling the cookies themselves, you want to make sure you have at least 1 gumdrop on each one. Sometimes it's easy to miss them. You also don't want to have too many in each one. This is probably the ideal cookie because you can see the gumdrop there. This one right here, you can see there's 2 of them in there. So let's do the taste test to see how they turned out. They look perfect. They look like I remember. This one has a nice gumdrop right there. We have a nut here. So I'm going to get everything in 1 bite for this cookie. Here we go. Oh yeah. Everything comes through in this one. You get the coconut, the nuts, the oats. The gumdrop is obviously prominent. I mean, I eat these as Christmas cookies, but you can make them all year long. They're delicious. You can go on the larger side or the smaller side. It doesn't really matter. If you're looking to make a classic cookie, you might want to try these because they are Freakin' Reviews approved. Next up, I'm trying a recipe for a cookie that I just made up. I want to see if it actually tastes good or not. It was an idea I had. We shall see. Now, I kind of compiled this from other recipes out there that already exist, but this one doesn't seem to exist, at least that I've seen. And it is the chocolate eggnog candy cane cookies. The first thing I did was crush up the candy canes. I wanted to have them in small bits under 1/4 of an inch. So I put them in my Ninja Express chop. A few pulses there. I strained out the powder. I picked out the big chunks. We should be good to go with that. Now for the rest of the recipe. First up, the dry ingredients. 1 3/4 cup of flour. 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I've been on the fence about using ground cinnamon, but I'm gonna go for it for this one. Just 1/4 teaspoon. Hopefully I don't regret that. Using my blending fork will give this a little mix. Now we set aside. Now it's time to cream the butter and the sugars. 3/4 cup of softened salted butter, exactly 61 degrees. 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now mix. All right, this is looking pretty good. Now we add 1 egg and beat that in. 1/4 cup of eggnog. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going with 1/4 teaspoon of rum extract. Now we're gonna start mixing in our dry ingredients. Now we fold in 3/4 cup of chocolate chips and our 1/2 cup of candy cane chunks. There is our dough now. So all I have to do now is chill this and we start baking. So I'll come back a little bit later. We'll see what happens. Will this turn out as I hoped? I have no idea, but it's gonna be fun to find out. So I'll come back a little later. When this is chilled, we'll start baking. All right, the dough is nicely chilled. It is time to start baking. I'm curious how this is gonna turn out, so here we go. There we go, the first dozen. I'm not even sure what size to make them. I just kind of guessed. If the size isn't right, I'll make adjustments, as with everything else. So let's throw them in the oven and see how they turn out. We're getting close, here we go. 2 batches here. This is the first batch, and this is the second batch. I made some adjustments. The first batch looks nice, but they look really nice, more brittle than I would want them to be, so I made some adjustments for the second batch. I reduced the baking time to 9 minutes. I reduced the time that they set on the pan after pulling out of the oven to 3 minutes, and they feel a little bit softer and they feel a little bit less brittle. So we have one more thing to do before I try them out, and that's a little bit of garnishments. And here we are for the final creation. It is time to try these out. They look pretty good. Obviously, this is a first batch. I could do better next time, but first attempt, it looks pretty good. But looks aren't the reason I made these. Will this be a Christmas classic or a Christmas clunker? We shall see. Here we go. I have to say, that came out pretty good. All the flavors are there. I taste the eggnog. The candy cane has this nice little crunch. They're not too big. They're not too prominent, almost a little chewy. I'll keep tinkering with it over time. If you have any suggestions how I can make it better, let me know what you think in the comments below. But as far as I can tell, my creation is worthwhile of tweaking and making better in the future. And with that, that's the end of this video. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.